Am I the asshole for kicking my brother out after he tried to test my fiancée? If you had asked me a year ago who the most important people in my life were, I would have said, without hesitation, my younger brother Luke and my fiancée Emma. It's funny how your world can narrow down to a few names. Two people who, in very different ways, have defined who I am. Luke, my partner in crime since childhood, and Emma, the woman who somehow makes me believe in things I never thought were real, like trust, commitment, and the kind of love that makes movies look like bad knockoffs. Luke is 3 years younger than me, 26 to my 29, and in almost every way he's my opposite. Where I'm measured, Luke is reckless. Where I'm careful with my words, Luke seems to treat every conversation like an open mic night. It's not that he's mean, he's not. He's just Luke, loud, confident. The kind of guy who seems to radiate this effortless charm that either draws you in or makes you want to throttle him. I've seen him flirt with waitresses, cashiers, my own female friends, hell, even my fiancée Emma. But that's just Luke being Luke, right? Or at least that's what I used to tell myself. When Emma and I first got engaged, Luke was, predictably, the loudest person in the room. He hugged me so hard I thought my spine might give way, then immediately turned to Emma with his trademark grin and said, "Don't worry. If my brother screws this up, I'll be here to catch you, Emma." Everyone laughed, because that's what you do when Luke speaks. It's automatic. He's got this way of making everything sound like a joke, even when there's something sharp hiding under it. Emma laughed too, though I saw a flicker of something in her eyes. It wasn't discomfort exactly, but I filed it away as, well, maybe a little weird. I mean, who says that? My brother, apparently. I brushed it off, because that's what I've always done with Luke. Brushed it off. Excused it. It's just his way of joking, I told myself. He doesn't mean anything by it. But then came the dinner party. Emma and I had been planning this small get-together for weeks. Nothing big. Just a few close friends, some good food, and the satisfaction of finally showing off the apartment we'd spent months turning into something that looked less like two random people sharing space and more like an actual home. Emma loves hosting. She has this incredible ability to make everything feel warm, welcoming. Like the world just slows down when she's in charge of an evening. We invited 6 people, my best friend Mark and his girlfriend, 2 of Emma's college friends, and, of course, Luke. I thought it would be fun. A chance for everyone to relax, laugh, maybe play some stupid card game after dessert. The first couple of hours were perfect. Luke showed up late, naturally, with that lopsided grin and a bottle of wine he probably picked up 5 minutes before arriving. He hugged Emma like she was his long-lost cousin, slapped me on the back, and immediately started telling some story about how he got hit on by a woman in the grocery store parking lot on his way over. It was fine. It was Luke. He was being his usual self. But then, somewhere between the main course and dessert, things shifted. We were all sitting around the table, wine glasses half empty, the warm buzz of conversation filling the room. Luke had been unusually quiet for a few minutes, which, if you know Luke, is a sign he's either thinking of something clever or something stupid to say. Unfortunately, this time it was both. "So," Luke said suddenly, leaning back in his chair and looking right at Emma, "you two are getting married soon, huh?" Emma smiled. "That's the plan, yes." "You know," Luke continued, swirling the wine in his glass like some kind of discount philosopher, "I've always believed couples need to be tested before marriage, to make sure they're the real deal." I chuckled, thinking he was about to launch into one of his ridiculous stories about relationships. "What, like a trust fall?" Luke smirked. "Something like that. Don't worry, Emma. I'll make sure you pass the test." There was this pause, a flicker of silence that settled over the table like dust. Everyone else laughed nervously, because that's the thing with Luke. People don't know if he's joking or serious, so they just laugh. But Emma didn't laugh. She just looked at him, this unreadable expression on her face, like she wasn't sure how to respond. I tried to "Hey," I said, nudging her. "What's on your mind?" She hesitated. "It's Luke. He makes me uncomfortable sometimes." I felt a strange jolt in my chest. "What do you mean?" "He's just, you know how he is. He jokes around." "Yeah, but it doesn't always feel like a joke. That thing he said about testing couples? I don't know. The way he said it felt weird. I didn't know what to say. Luke has always been like that. But hearing Emma say it out loud made me feel defensive and uneasy all at once. I promised her I'd talk to him if he crossed a line again. But the truth, I didn't really believe he would. Because that's just Luke, right? I didn't sleep that night. It was one of those nights where your brain feels like a broken film reel. Scenes from the evening just keep flickering in your head, looping over and over, each time darker and uglier. Emma's voice, quiet but firm, replayed in my mind. He cornered me in the kitchen. I can still picture the moment she told me. It was well past midnight. The apartment smelled like leftover food and faint traces of wine. Emma was curled up on the couch, knees pulled to her chest, her hair falling loosely over her face. I was putting the last of the dishes away when she said it, softly at first, like she was testing whether I'd actually heard her. "Your brother, Luke, he said some things tonight, in the kitchen, when you were outside." I turned to her, dish towel in hand, the words catching in my throat. "What do you mean, said some things?" Her voice was calm, but I could tell she was holding it together. "He told me I was too good for you, that I deserve someone who can actually make me laugh." She let out a bitter little laugh, shaking her head. "Then he asked me out for drinks, as some kind of test, to see if I really love you." I remember just standing there, gripping the edge of the counter like it was the only thing keeping me grounded. For a moment, I didn't even know how to process it. I wanted to believe there was some misunderstanding, that maybe she'd misheard him or he was drunk and trying to be funny. But then I thought about the dinner table, that stupid wink, the way he said test, and I knew this wasn't just Luke being Luke anymore. Emma's eyes softened when she saw my face. I shut him down, obviously. I told him I love you, that I'm marrying you, and I walked out of the kitchen. But you needed to know. I wish I could tell you I stormed over to Luke's place right then and there, that I knocked on his door and told him to stay the hell out of my life if he couldn't respect my relationship. But that's not what happened. Instead, I sat there, frozen, angry and humiliated in equal measure. Luke was my brother, my little brother, the kid I taught how to ride a bike, the guy who helped me sneak beers into our parents' basement when we were teenagers. How the hell did we get here? I didn't trust myself to talk to him on the phone. I needed to say something fast, but if I called, I knew I'd end up yelling, and yelling never gets through to Luke. So I texted, "Me, what the hell were you thinking tonight?" Emma told me everything. The typing bubble appeared, then disappeared, then reappeared again. My hands were sweating as I stared at the screen. "Luke, chill out, man. I was just testing her. If she's the one, she wouldn't say yes." I swear, I could feel my pulse in my teeth. My vision went red. Testing her? Who does that? Who corners their own brother's fiancée and calls it a test? Luke and I, we don't fight. Not really. Growing up, we had the usual sibling stuff. Arguments over who got the front seat, wrestling matches that ended when mom yelled from the kitchen. But as adults, we've always had this unspoken bond. I think part of it comes from losing our dad when we were young. I was 15, Luke was only 12, and I became this half-brother, half-father figure for him. I was the one who showed him how to shave, how to talk to girls, ironic in hindsight, how to deal with our mom's overprotectiveness. But somewhere along the way, Luke took the cool younger brother role and ran with it. He became the guy everyone loved at parties, the one who always had a story, a joke, a girl on his arm. And I was fine with that. I was proud of him, even. But this felt like a betrayal I didn't even have a name for. And in that moment, I realized something I hadn't before. Emma trusted me to handle it, not to explode, not to let it fester. She trusted me to stand up for her, for us. Picked up my phone again. My thumbs hovered over the screen for a moment. Then I typed, "Me, you don't get to test her. She's not some game. If you can't respect my relationship, you're not welcome around us." He took a few minutes to respond. I imagined him sitting there, maybe with a drink in hand, laughing at my overreaction. "Luke, bro, you're taking this way too seriously. I was kidding. Chill." "Me? No, you weren't kidding. Don't ever talk to her like that again." This time, there was no typing bubble, just silence. Even after the exchange, I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't over. That Luke wasn't gonna just shrug and move on. Because Luke doesn't back down. He doubles down. And part of me, some paranoid protective part, wondered if this whole test thing was just his way of seeing how far he could push before I snapped. That night, lying next to Emma, I stared at the ceiling and thought about all the things I didn't know how to say. Like how I felt torn in two, between the brother I grew up with and the woman I wanted to spend my life with. Between loyalty and love. The call wasn't planned. It wasn't one of those conversations you rehearse in your head, telling yourself you'll stay calm and be reasonable. No, this was the kind of call that happens when you've been bottling things up for too long, and the pressure inside you reaches a point where it just explodes. I called Luke the next morning, right after Emma left for work. I didn't even sit down. I paced the apartment, phone in hand, heart pounding in my chest like it was trying to warn me that I was about to do something I couldn't take back. When he picked up, his voice was too casual, too smug. "Yo, big bro, what's up? You cool now?" Cool? That single word snapped something inside me. Cool? I barked, my voice sharp enough that I could feel the heat in my cheeks. "You think I'm cool with you cornering Emma in the kitchen and asking her out for drinks? You think I'm cool with you testing my relationship like I'm some clueless idiot who can't tell if my fiancé is loyal or not?" There was a pause. I could hear him exhale, slow and deliberate, like he was still half asleep. "Man, you're really making this into a big deal." "A big deal? Are you kidding me? You hit on my fiancé while I was right outside. You disrespected me, Emma, and our relationship all in one night. How the hell is that not a big deal?" Luke laughed, actually laughed. "You're welcome, by the way." For a moment, I was so stunned I didn't even know how to respond. "You're what?" "You're welcome," he repeated, like I'd missed something obvious. I mean, think about it. If she'd said yes, if she was into me, wouldn't you want to know that before the wedding? I was doing you a favor, man. There's a unique kind of rage that comes when someone insults your intelligence while pretending they're doing you a favor. I gripped the phone so hard I thought I might snap it in half. "A favor? You cornered her. You made her uncomfortable in her own home. That's not a favor, Luke. That's you crossing the line so hard I can't even see it anymore." "Chill, bro," he said, and I swear, if he'd been standing in front of me, I don't know what I would have done. "You're blowing this way out of proportion. I wasn't hitting on her, not really. I was just joking around, testing her a little. You know me, I like to push buttons." "No," I said, my voice low now, all the fire simmering into something darker. "This wasn't a joke. You don't get to treat my relationship like it's some kind of game. You don't get to talk to Emma like that ever again. Do you understand me?" There was another long silence, and then Luke's voice shifted. He wasn't laughing anymore. There was something colder now, sharper. "Wow, so this is how it's gonna be? You're gonna let some girl come between us? You're really choosing her over family?" I closed my eyes, pinching the bridge of my nose. "Luke, she's not some girl. She's the woman I'm going to marry. And yes, if you're asking me to pick between her and you, when you act like this, I'm choosing her. Every single time." "Unbelievable," he muttered. "After everything I've done for you. What exactly have you done for me, Luke? Seriously, name one thing you've done lately that wasn't just about you." That's when the shouting started. He accused me of being whipped. He said Emma was changing me, that I used to be cool before I started letting her control my life. I told him to grow the hell up and stop treating women like they're props in some game he's playing. He told me I was acting like dad. A low blow that hit me right in the chest. Finally, I just said it. "I don't want you anywhere near Emma. Not for now. Not until you can learn how to respect her and me." There was a sharp inhale on the other end of the line. "Wow, you're really gonna regret this, man. Goodbye, Luke." I hung up before I could hear anything else. I sat there for a long time after the call, my hands trembling, my heart still hammering like I just run a marathon. Felt wrong. Not because I didn't mean what I said I did, but because I'd never drawn a line with Luke before. Not like that. Not so definitively. When Emma came home that night, I told her everything. She wrapped her arms around me and said she was proud of me for standing up to him. But I could see it in her eyes, the guilt, the worry that she'd somehow caused all this tension between us. "You didn't cause this," I told her, kissing the top of her head. "Luke did. This is on him. I wish I could tell you that was the end of it. That Luke called a week later, apologized, and we all moved on like adults. But that's not Luke. That's not how my brother operates." 2 days later, I got a text from my mom. "Why is Luke saying you banned him from your place? What's going on?" You'd think telling your parents about something like this would bring clarity. You'd think they'd hear the story, look at Luke, and say, "Yeah, son, you messed up." But families don't work like that. Not mine, anyway. When I told my parents what Luke did, it was like dropping a grenade into the middle of a living room and waiting to see who would jump on it. Dad didn't even hesitate. As soon as I finished explaining how Luke had cornered Emma, what he said, how he tried to twist it into some test, my dad's jaw tightened in that way that means he's beyond angry but trying to hold it in. "That's disgusting," he said, his voice low, deliberate. "He owes both of you an apology. Period." I felt a wave of relief. Dad's not the type to sugarcoat things, and hearing him side with me felt like someone was finally saying out loud what I'd been screaming in my head since that night. "Thanks, Dad," I muttered. But then came Mom. "Okay, yes, maybe he went a little too far," she started, holding her hands up like a referee trying to stop a fight. "But that's just how Luke jokes. You know how he is. He doesn't mean anything by it. Don't ruin your brotherly bond over a misunderstanding." A misunderstanding. That word made my skin crawl. "Mom," I said, trying not to yell. "He hit on my fiancée. That's not a joke. That's not something you brush off." She waved her hand like she was swatting a fly. "Oh, please. Luke has a big personality, but he loves you. He was probably just teasing, trying to see if Emma would laugh." Emma didn't laugh. I didn't laugh. And the fact that my mom was standing there, brushing it off like Luke was some adorable little rascal who just stole a cookie before dinner, it made me realize something. This is why Luke never takes responsibility for anything. Because Mom never makes him. Luke wasn't there when I told them, probably for the best. But of course he found out anyway. My phone buzzed the next morning with a text from him. "So you went crying to Mom and Dad? Seriously? No apology. No ownership. Just more deflection." And as if that wasn't enough, Luke started spinning his version of the story to anyone who would listen. According to him, I overreacted and disrespected family. He made it sound like I banned him from my life just because he made a harmless joke. Meanwhile, Emma's been quiet through all of this. Too quiet. I can tell she feels uncomfortable even being in the same room as Luke now, and honestly, I don't blame her. When we went over to my parents' house for dinner last week, she sat stiffly at the table, avoiding eye contact with him. He, of course, acted like nothing was wrong, like we were all just supposed to forget. "Maybe I shouldn't come next time," Emma whispered to me on the drive home. "What do you mean?" I asked, gripping the steering wheel. She sighed. "It's just awkward. He keeps staring, and your mom keeps acting like I'm the one who's overreacting. I don't want to make things worse for you." That cut me deep, because Emma shouldn't have to feel like the bad guy here. She's the victim in all this. And yet, somehow, Luke's managed to twist the narrative so I'm the overprotective brother, Emma's too sensitive. And he's just the lovable goof who didn't mean it. Dad's been calling me privately, telling me to stand my ground. "Don't let your mom guilt you into this," he said during our last call. "Luke needs to learn that actions have consequences. He's been skating by on charm for too long." Meanwhile, Mom's leaving me voicemails like this. "Honey, can't you just talk to Luke? He misses you. He said he was only joking. Don't let Emma come between you two. You're brothers. You're supposed to have each other's backs." Every time I listen to those voicemails, I feel like I'm losing my mind. Having each other's backs doesn't mean letting your brother hit on your fiancée. It doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. Luke, of course, is playing the victim card like he invented it. He's been telling our cousins, our friends, anyone who'll listen that I'm choosing her over family and throwing away 26 years of brotherhood over a joke. But here's the thing. Family doesn't give you a free pass to disrespect the people you love. If anything, it should make you less likely to cross that line. I don't know what happens next. Emma's made it clear that if Luke doesn't apologize, she doesn't want him at the wedding. Dad agrees with her. Mom, predictably, says banning Luke would be cruel and unforgivable. The problem is, I'm starting to think Emma's right. If Luke can't own up to this, how can I trust him to be anywhere near her on the most important day of our lives? There's a point in every family feud where you have to decide. Do you keep trying to keep the peace, or do you protect your own sanity? For me, that point came last night. I called Luke one final time. It wasn't easy. Part of me hoped he would have reached out by now, maybe with some kind of half-hearted apology. But no, Luke doesn't apologize. Luke doubles down. "Look," I said, before he could launch into one of his sarcastic greetings. "This is it. If you can't sincerely apologize to Emma for what you did, you're not coming to the wedding." For a moment, there was silence. Then he let out this incredulous laugh, like I just told him I was moving to Mars. "You're serious? You're really gonna ban your own brother from your wedding? Over a test?" I clenched my jaw so hard I could feel it in my temples. "It wasn't a test, Luke. It was harassment. You cornered her. You disrespected me, you disrespected her. And you're still refusing to take any accountability. Bro, you're being dramatic," he said, his tone dripping with that same arrogance that's been driving me insane since this started. "You're letting some random woman control you. We're blood. That should mean something." "Random woman?" I repeated, my voice cracking with disbelief. "She's my fiancée, Luke. She's the woman I'm going to marry. If you can't respect her, then you don't respect me. And I'm done pretending like that's okay just because you're my brother." Of course, my mom found out about that conversation within hours, because Luke can't go 5 minutes without running to her. She called me, voice tight with frustration. "Honey, please, he's your brother. You can't just not invite him. Do you know how humiliating that will be for our family? Do you know how humiliating it was for Emma when he hit on her in our kitchen?" I shot back, because apparently nobody wants to talk about that part. Mom sighed, the kind of long, theatrical sigh that says, "I'm disappointed in you," without using those exact words. "You're letting her come between you two," she said. "One day you'll regret this." I don't think I will, because the truth is, Emma is my family now, or at least she's about to be. And if I can't protect her, if I can't stand up for her when my own brother crosses a line, what kind of husband would I even be? Luke's been sulking ever since. I've gotten texts from cousins, friends, even one of my uncles, all saying some version of, "Man, it's not worth the drama. Just let him come." But here's the thing, why is the drama my fault? Why is it on me to let it go when Luke is the one who caused this mess in the first place? Emma, bless her, told me she'd support whatever I decided. "If you want him there, I won't say anything," she said. "But I won't feel safe around him. Not after what he said to me." And that was all I needed to hear. So that's it. Luke is out. Unless he magically grows a conscience and apologizes. And let's be real, that's not happening. He won't be at the wedding. My dad's quietly backing me on this. My mom, on the other hand, is acting like I've declared war on the entire family tree. So Reddit, am I the asshole for kicking my brother out of my life and my wedding after he tried to test my fiancée? Because right now, it feels like I'm the only one who sees how messed up this whole situation really is.